Welcome back to the chat. It can be one of the hardest parts of life, but on the journey to finding long-lasting love, breakups are inevitable. Whether it was one that hit you really hard or several that happened over a period of time, it could be hard not to blame yourself when things just don't go right. Dr. Louh is still with us. So, Dr. Louh, when people's relationships fail, especially marriages, I say that one because I went through a divorce. Angelia did. I mean, I felt like a failure. I don't know if I know anybody who went through a divorce who didn't feel like a failure, because you failed at marriage.
Absolutely.
I mean, you did, right?
Absolutely. It's so tough. It is so tough. And I think we feel like a failure when something doesn't work out because it's our means of looking for some sort of control, right? If I had a part in this, then I know how to fix it, then it won't happen to me again. It's sort of like our looking to feel better, I think, about moving forward and having hope. But, I mean, certainly we're not a failure just because the relationship doesn't work out. There's so many reasons why our relationships don't work out. You know, from not having the, like I said, the manual, the communication skills training to work through differing needs, not having the same foundational values, you know, stress that we don't manage from the outside in that inflicts, infidelity. I mean, there's so many things that can make a relationship fail. And if we're not, you know, proactive and kind of working through those things and taking steps, and both parties aren't on the same page with working forward, it makes it hard to move on. And
but gosh, it's so hard to separate, I am not a failure when my relationship did fail.
Yes.
It's really hard to separate that.
You know what I tell people? I tell people the relationship failed. It is not you that failed. It is not you that failed. It is the relationship failed. And now the relationship is my client. I mean, that is what we're looking at. It's the dynamic interchange between two people that failed. And it can fail for so many reasons. And we don't figure out, I mean, certainly we do have a part in why relationships aren't working out. We do have a part in the dynamic, but it's up to us to sort of move on and look at ourselves and think, well, gosh, what did I add to this? But, you know, what did they add to this? And maybe what did I not really like about this relationship that wasn't meeting my needs I didn't realize at the time? You know, we learned so much about what was failing, but it wasn't one person. It's never one person.
So, you know, we're so quick, you know, when relationships fail, whether it's marriages or whatever, regular relationships, we're so quick to blame ourselves. I should have did this. I should have did this better. I should have did this more or less. Why are we so quick to play the me, I blame myself for it? Why
really?
So
because I blame them. It's them. No, I'm just kidding.
I know.
It was all his fault.
Why are we
And that's how you get over it quickly.
And I see both. I mean, you know, that it's me. But, you know, I think, you know, the people who are saying it's me, I definitely think they are people willing to sort of take a look inside and say, what did I do to, you know, like when let's say we're driving and we get into an accident and I changed lanes right before I got into that accident. I'm the first person to say, if I hadn't have changed lanes, then I wouldn't have gotten to that accident. You know, we're just looking for a way to make sense of what's happening to us when we blame ourselves, right? We're just looking for a way to make sense of it. You know, and certainly when it's a concrete thing like infidelity, it is easy to point the finger and say it's them, right? Because you have something black and white that says there was a problem there, you know? But we're looking for that control.
So, you know, in relationships, it's two people are in the relationship, but sometimes many other people are in a relationship as well. You know, friends and family influence, right? So when it comes to a breakup, you now have other people influencing, saying things like, oh, you were great, it is all his fault, or, you know, whatever it is. I mean, how hard is it then to get perspective on it when you have all of those outside people, because they don't really know what happened in the relationship. Only you two people know.
You know, my feedback for people who are trying to support somebody going through it is not to give your opinion on whose fault it was or what was wrong or what was right. It's to just listen to the person who's grieving. Just listen and help deepen their feelings, because that's what's going to lead to their understanding of what really went wrong, to their understanding what was missing, or why am I so upset, or what do I need to change within myself. We do that growth ourselves when somebody just steps back and listens. You know, but most of our friends, you know, well-intended, they're trying to tell us all the bad things, you know, what we should look out for, and that doesn't allow us to grow.
But at that point, it really doesn't matter if the relationship is over. As my friend, you're trying to tell me you should have did this, he is wrong. That's not going to help me. I think, you know, if you're going to be in that situation, encourage her. Don't try to go back to the past. Encourage her as far as moving forward and helping her heal.
Absolutely. And we have to take care of ourselves in healing. I think that's so important. I mean, we get stuck on those old chapters of our past, but how we process a failure is what leads to our growth and ultimate success in life, or our despair.
What if you don't process it? I mean, because a lot of people think the best way to get over it is to jump into another relationship.
Well, you can do that for a time, but then it comes back to you in the next relationship. It will like relive itself. It makes its presence known at some point. So we can only escape it temporarily, but then that grief comes right back in.
That's why J-Lo has her problems, because she just goes from
I agree with you on that.
She has no problems.
Then again, you look at her body and her money and her new man. What am I talking about?
Money, she's fine. Well, so is there a certain amount of time, though? Because, I mean, I always hear that relationships, so you had a 5-year relationship, it'll take you 2.5 years to get through it, to work through it, to process. Yeah. And then you should move on. Is there a time that you can put on it, like just... you know,
time when I should be done feeling.
Yeah, because I mean, I feel like it's different for everybody, I'm sure, but is there a basic time limit?
I mean, we call for adjustment disorders, which we call people who are grieving with a certain trial or trauma, is 6 months. You know, that anything over 6 months tends to be more of a complicated grieving situation where somebody's having a hard time moving on. You know, and there could be a number of reasons for that. You know, some people don't realize that they were highly dependent in the relationship and that they weren't in that relationship because they liked it. They were in it because they can't be alone. And now that they're alone, we've got another problem. We've got their dependency issues that we're now dealing with, or, you know, issues from their past or their family. And, you know, I think that we start to look at other issues when it takes longer than 6 months.
Okay, good advice. But I think the biggest thing is, you know, just because the relationship failed doesn't mean you were a failure.
Oh, it means the relationship was
the relationship
failure. Yes,
failed.
the dynamic. Yes.
Okay, I think I got it now. At the time, it was a hard message, but thank you so much for the advice. We appreciate it. All right, still to come, 2 local women hoping to spread encouragement for others on the First Coast. Find out about the ladies and their podcast when we come back.